there, San Diego. I'm Atiana Parker, your co-host for San Diego's hottest show, The Block. Our show delivers stories on the businesses, entertainment, arts, technology, and sports that make San Diego special. This week on The Block, we'll be sitting down with a former Saints Super Bowl winner, one of San Diego's hottest new coffee spots, 2 award-winning filmmakers, and a Navy veteran turned hip-hop artist. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. When this Texas native joined the Navy, his journey took him places he never thought possible. After transitioning out of the service, through his hardships, a poet was born. Founder of Collective Purpose and later Lyrical Groove, meet San Diego's Best Hip Hop Music Award winner, Kendrick Dial.
Oh yeah, turn me up just a little bit. It's about to get there. Everybody, we need you. So
Kendrick Dial, and I am a spoken word artist and the band leader for the Lyrical Groove. Born and raised Dallas, Texas, pretty much, the country city kid, loved playing basketball, coming up. I was pretty close with my grandparents. I had a mother, father, 2 sisters. I always joke with my friends, I didn't realize how poor we were until we left. We had everything that we needed, and the laughs, and even through the troubling times, we had the laughs and the heart and the love there. I think for me, it was kind of that lesson that, it's really about the relationships and the people that make life so much meaningful than just having things. My early part in the military, I was in Japan, and I remember specifically talking to this young lady when I was in Japan who was on the ship, and she was like, so what do you want to do or whatnot, and I was really just kind of starting to dabble in the poetry. Being in Japan, I was experiencing a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions I hadn't really dealt with before, in terms of sadness from being away, the culture shock, and all these different dynamics. And so I started writing, and then I would type up these poems and I would email them back to my friends and family back at home, and I just got a lot of encouragement to keep going and keep doing it and keep doing it. One of the first things I did when I was writing the poetry was I actually wrote a book of poetry called The Joint. The Journey Notwithstanding, Life, Love, and Lessons Learned. It was actually pretty much a collection of the poetry that I'd written when I was on the ship. One of my challenges in the military was they only wanted the sailor, and I wanted to show up and bring Kendrick Dial. So I told myself when I got to San Diego, I was gonna look for poetry spots and try to really get into it. When I did finally get locked into it, it just kind of opened me up to so much more of San Diego and connected to so many more long-lasting relationships that I still have today.
wake up, wake up, and put the smokers in your cups. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put the smokers in your cups.
So I connected with my brother Melvin Parker. He hit me up at the 504 Gallon and was like, hey, can you come through? Being there and kind of working with him in terms of, I see he was starting to build a show, and for whatever reason, whatever host what was supposed to be there couldn't make it or whatnot, and so I was like, I feel it, whatever. And that kind of connected me with, following in with a different form of entertainment in terms of being an MC and a host. It really opened me up to being a pretty good host. Myself and Black and Rudy Francisco got asked to perform at Indie Fest here in San Diego. And so I had the idea hey, let's get a couple musicians, if nothing else, we can just kind of vibe with them, see what to do. It was cool. It really worked. The music actually kind of helped bring people in. From that point on, we actually started doing this poetry with music. And then just through natural transition, Rudy started touring more. Ant moved up to Paris, so in terms of doing gigs, it really didn't mesh as well. So at that point, my good friend GK met with him, and then this other keyboard player who had kind of came in, Mike from Tennessee, his brother Rod was playing with us at the time. He came in and started gigging with us. And then we just had yo, let's try this. Let's see what this do. And I'll never forget it. We did a gig at the Ruby Room. When people started dancing to, my poetry and the music and everything, it was just oh, we can do this. This is dope. That was that. I was oh, we was just pumped. He was all right, let's do this. We actually won a couple San Diego Music Awards. The first year we won for Best Hip Hop Album, and then the following year we won for Best Hip Hop Artist. It was pretty humbling at the same time to kind of see that, you know, our city was, you know, recognized us and kind of saw that what we did was pretty something to be reckoned with. At the end of the day, I really just want my impact to be made in terms of the lives that I've touched. That's the impact that I want people to have from my music. I do stuff for fun, but mainly if you listen to the Kendrick Dial and Lyrical Groove, you're going to hear some type of message that hopefully helps you deal with life or see things in a slightly different way, or just connect with life in a way that hopefully uplifts you. I want to be able to kind of just write my ticket and live life to the fullest. I want to explore, I want to find out more about me. I'm still learning me so that I can be the best form of me. What's going on, good folks? My name is Kendrick Dial, the band leader for the Lyrical Groove, and you are watching The Block.
You can find out more information about Kendrick Dial by visiting lyricalgroove.com.
When you have more month than your food, you make sure your kids don't ever go to sleep hungry.
We have many kids that are coming to school hungry, and when they're hungry, their mind is not on math, language arts.
Sometimes academic doesn't happen if you're hungry.
Feeding San Diego is a godsend, and it's a variety of food.
Fresh food that I swear it feels like it just came off of the tree.
Eating San Diego serves people who
Serve our country.
Raise families.
And seek education.
To donate, visit feedingsandiego.org.
Through life experience and troubles, these twins took their story to the big screen. The filmmakers we meet in this next segment have won awards in cities spanning between Los Angeles to Atlanta. Meet Marie and Michelle.
Hi, I'm Marie Acero Green. I'm one of the executive producers, the writers and creators, and one of the actors on Sunday mornings.
Hi, I'm Michelle Acero Wade, and I am also one of the executive producers, actors, and writers and creators of Sunday mornings. Well, we were born and raised in San Diego, California, Southeast San Diego, and we graduated from Patrick Henry High School in a large family, 5 girls, 2 boys.
Yeah.
So 7 kids.
We also went to Morris High School for a period of time, you know, but we ended up going our last 2 years of high school to Patrick Henry. We always knew that we would do television and film.
Yeah, I think music was our first love.
We
started in the church,
right.
And, you know, our aunt played the organ there, and, you know, our dad's a deacon in the church, and we just loved to sing, so that was our first love.
And after graduation, we moved to Atlanta, Georgia, because we got a record deal with RCA Records. But before that, we had in-between groups and had a lot of fun. But we got a record deal with RCA Records, and we were a part of a 4-girl group called Illusion, spelled with an E.
And that's what our story's about. Sunday mornings. That's where everything stems from.
Yeah.
You know, and the passion. You know, as we're writing it, we got a lot of that from our mom. A lot of input from her.
Oh yeah.
You know, and she might be this little old Filipino lady, but she's so strong.
The strongest woman you will ever meet.
Yeah.
You know,
she's
4 feet tall. You know,
titanium. That's
yeah.
the one word if they were to describe my mom. It's titanium. She's very strong.
Yeah. And I do think that is why, because we did have other projects that we could have moved on. But I feel like because family was so important and it was so much of who we are, that was an important part of us to kind of just create that and bring it to life before anything else. So it's a generational story. It includes our father, which was a deacon in the church, and his father before him was a deacon, and so forth. And then also with our mother, it touches on her life, maybe not in the first film and an episode that we have, but it does. It's a generational story. It talks about her and her family and why she is the way she is, and her parents before her, and then you get a chance to see why the daughters, the deacon's daughters, are the way that they are, because you know, their father, ex-military, deacon in the church, loving, compassionate man, but don't try him. And then the daughters have that same outlook, but they're a little touched, we had fun with the characters. So we were able to take, real life personalities and have fun with, just creating. When we first started working on Sunday mornings, our mom was diagnosed with breast cancer at the time.
Yeah.
And we knew we wanted to do something, and it was an emotional time for us, so
that's when
creativity kind of, we just needed something to take our mind off of it. And Michelle and I prayed about it, and our spirit spoke to us and was just like, we were in the middle of the night, and it was so easy to do because we just wrote about us and our family, and our father and our experiences.
Yeah, and I want to say that she really motivated us. You know what I mean? Just talking to her the whole time, it just got us, okay, get up, do something. Like, life's too short to just the day in, the day out, getting caught up in that. Like, do what your passion is, do what your heart tells you.
Right.
And that's what she was saying, do what your heart tells you.
Yes.
Well, our heart was telling us to move on this and to
Yes.
write it. So we talked to her the whole time we were writing it. So she played a big part in that.
And then
We had fun writing it
yes,
too.
and when we had the end result, we didn't even realize that we had really wrote a story that quick, and it was, I had the character building and everything. We kind of did that afterwards because we had all the characters already. We had, our father, the sisters, the main character, which is Sunday Juanita Robinson. Hence, it's named after her. It follows the life of Sunday Robinson. And
It's her mornings, and every morning she writes in her journal. So that's basically what it is. And she's telling a story. Just like our dad was the storyteller, she's telling the story.
Right.
And everything that's going on, and she's this bond that glues the family together.
And she's adopted. It's funny because she's the one in the story that's adopted into the uncle adopts her into the family where she already has these siblings. And so father, Daddy Robinson, our father, says, okay, he's going to help out and save this child. But in the end, Sunday actually is the one that saves the family. When it's all said and done, what do we want people to say about
That
us?
we never quit.
That we don't
never
stop.
quit.
We don't stop.
That we're going to keep going.
And we're going to take responsibility, whether it's good or it's bad, because you know what? We wouldn't have Sunday mornings if we weren't told no, if we didn't bump our head, if we didn't fall down again and again and again, if we didn't get hurt, if we weren't broken.
Right.
It wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It's
Got to take the good and the bad, and we're not going to stop. We're gonna
Never.
keep going.
Never.
Be sure to support Marie and Michelle by checking out their film, Sunday Mornings.
When you have more month than your food, you make sure your kids don't ever go to sleep hungry.
We have many kids that are coming to school hungry, and when they're hungry, their mind is not on math, language arts.
Sometimes academic doesn't happen if you're hungry.
Feeding San Diego is a godsend, and it's a variety of food.
Fresh food that I swear it feels like it just came off of the tree.
Feeding San Diego serves people who
Serve our country.
Raise families.
And seek education.
To donate, visit feedingsandiego.org.
Born and raised in Arizona, this former high-risk analyst dreamed of touching lives through serving coffee. Successfully starting a business of her own, Heartsleeves Coffee Shop has been an amazing addition to the Little Italy community. Meet Brandy Kirschbaum.
I always wanted a coffee shop since that point. I started going to different coffee shops and drinking coffee, and when I was about 20, I bought a house, lived in that house for a while I worked, and I sold the house when I was about 25, and I used the money to pay for school. Kind of did the stable, safe route. I was always kind of scared to take that leap of faith, even though all I ever did was talk about having a coffee shop. And all my relationships, everything I ever did was I wanted to have a coffee shop. Started writing business plans every year and just talked about it nonstop. And then after I just got so burnt out with such a kind of unfulfilling job and a kind of negative, there's nothing super happy about the job I was doing. My job was to determine the worst possible maximum loss of a risk and life safety, what could hurt someone or kill them. So that wasn't the happiest job ever. Now coffee makes people happy, so now I get to do that instead. That's kind of the a synopsis, I guess, the gist of how I got here. Hi, I'm Brandi Kirschbaum. I'm owner and operator of Heart Sleeves Coffee in Little Italy. I actually never worked in a coffee shop before this. I did a lot of home barista. I would make concoctions. I got a cheap espresso machine and started playing with ingredients and drinks, and started making just all these different drinks and started thinking about what I wanted. Visited a lot of different coffee shops, saw what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them. Kind of liked toying with the idea of like coffee cocktails, so a lot of my drinks are a lot of different combinations of things. They're not completely syrups, so that it tapers down the sweetness. So I was just always experimenting, and then having other people like at home, I would make them. I'm like, what do you want me to make you? You want a latte? Like, so I would always make people coffee when they came over. When I first opened, the very first week that I opened, I had a breakup in a relationship like 3 days after my open. And I had to cope with that, keep everything running, keep it smooth, keep it quality, smile, you know, act like everything was fine, everything's good, which it was. Customers would make me happy. Like, people coming to the shop made me happy. My contractor, who is one of my good friends, he actually did the build out, made it health code ready, put in all the lights, painted, did some copper welding, just all kinds of different things that he did. I had the shop open for a few months, and when I lost my baristas and I was a little short-staffed, he decided to come and barista for me. And I needed him. Like, it was a good match. Like, he's super outgoing, very charismatic, loved him to death. Like, everybody loved him. Good-looking guy, just charming. Could sell ice to an Eskimo, and just amazing. He committed suicide 3 days before my birthday. After he was where I was expecting him for a shift, and my phone rang, and I was like, "Hey, Chris," and it wasn't him. It was his fiance on the phone, and she was crying hysterically to where I couldn't hardly understand what she was saying. And that was the only time I ever shut down my shop, is when I found it. And then the next day I had to pretend like it didn't happen. And I only told a couple of people, like regular customers, people that knew me, people from the neighborhood. And they started helping, because I was all by myself. Sean Barnes owns Love and Aesthetics next door to me. He was my biggest supporter and encourager in the beginning of the shop, when everyone was naysaying me and telling me that businesses fail and that I'll never succeed, and just questioning everything that I did. He spent a lot of time trying to make me feel better about it and not to listen to them, and encourage me to find the supporters and the positive people. He's like, listen to me, don't listen to the person that's gonna, shoot you down. Or a lot of the stuff that you see in my shop is from him. I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. He's helped me a lot. He's one of my very best friends, and fortunately I have him next door. He's been in the industry, so a lot of the help, a lot of the support, the biggest majority comes from him. I'm Brandi Kirschbaum, owner-operator of Heart Sleeves Coffee in Little Italy, and you're watching The Block.
You can visit Heart Sleeves Coffee Shop at 621 West 1st Street in Little Italy.
When you have more month than your food, you make sure your kids don't ever go to sleep hungry.
We have many kids that are coming to school hungry, and when they're hungry, their mind is not on math, language arts.
Sometimes academic doesn't happen if you're hungry.
Feeding San Diego is a godsend, and it's a variety of food.
Fresh food that I swear it feels like it just came off of the tree.
Feeding San Diego serves people who
serve our country,
raise families,
and seek education.
To donate, visit feedingsandiego.org.
In 2010, this running back would share one of the proudest moments of his life as the New Orleans Saints took home the title of Super Bowl champions. Soon after, he would suffer an injury that would end his career, but be the beginning of an even brighter future. Turning to his passion to help kids, Hamilton's Heart Foundation was born. Meet Lynell Hamilton.
My name is Lionel Hamilton, founder of Fast Play Athletics, also founder of Hamilton's Heart Foundation, and also the 2010 winning New Orleans Saints Super Bowl champions. I'm from Stockton, California. My first time touching the football. In terms of Pop Warner Records, I had many records. And right then I knew that this is what I was going to do the rest of my life. I mean, some of the best players, they say, never made it. And the reason why they didn't make it was because of their education. And I was looking like being a statistic. I was on that route. You know, probably had a 1.8 going into my sophomore year. But that wasn't the only thing that kind of changed my life, right? Just the fact that I was seeing other guys not make it. The biggest point that changed my life was when I gave my life to Christ. I had a relationship, but I wasn't fully dedicated until my sophomore year. Once I got to my junior year, I had an incredible junior year at the public school, and I got the national attention then once I started going to the different camps, USC camp, Cal Berkeley camp. For me, I was a huge, strong running back in a passing offense. So they had the shotgun, but I was a bigger back, so I can kind of do both. I can catch the ball at the backfield, I can block, I can run. But teams like Michigan, Miami, USC, all the California schools, Oregon, and Colorado. I mean, I could probably name on my hand alone the schools that did not recruit me. The biggest decision for me going to San Diego State was my mom came to me. She said she prayed on it. Because at that time I was pro-Oregon. She said she prayed on it and said that, you know, God told me that this was a school for you and that you was going to flourish at this school. He had a plan for you here at San Diego State. Freshman All-American, I think I ended up being 7th in the rushing in NCAA at the time after the season was over. But also that season I would break my fibula. So I wouldn't even play the whole season. Even though I had all those accolades, I still had 3 more games to play that I did not get a chance to finish. And I was just shy 200 yards from beating Marshall Faulk's freshman record at the time too. So it was a great year, but it could even be even better if I didn't get hurt. Like I said, my freshman year I had the broken fibula. My redshirt sophomore year I had a hamstring tear that took me out 3 or 4 games, and then my junior year I had the meniscus tear that, you know, was so bad to where, you know, the new coaching staff that came in placed me in a whole different position, which was the fullback position. So it pretty much kept the ball out of my hands. I had the highest. I was a freshman All-American to being not even touching the ball my senior year. I didn't know what I was going to do next. So come senior year, you know, in the last game of the year, I really thought that was going to be my last game. I really did. I thought that was going to be the end of my career. But one thing I did have hope for was God said that He had more for me in football. And I leaned on that. I had faith in that. God said that I was going to touch people from me playing the game. I didn't know what it was, so I decided not to quit. I decided that once the season was over, I went straight into training. And I mean, for me to play fullback position, I got up to like 250, 245. I went from 245 all the way down to 211 by the time my pro day was there. And I was in, tip-top shape. I got my film together, gave the scouts my film. I did everything in terms of putting myself in position at least to be looked at on film and looked at in person. A couple teams liked what they saw. New Orleans Saints was one of the biggest teams in terms of, you know, really, really wanted me to go to New Orleans. So when draft came, I was promised a draft pick from New Orleans, but they went and they chose Jeremy Shockey. They picked up Jeremy Shockey in a trade-in. And so I lost my draft pick. And it was funny, now that I look at it, Jeremy Shockey was a big-time tight end at the time. He was in the locker room, he was like right next to me. So I'm with Jeremy every day, and like, man, that was my draft pick you took, man, you know? But it's cool. The way I got into the league was just perfect. You know, I was a free agent, and I chose New Orleans out of the teams that offered money and offered a position. I chose New Orleans Saints, and there you have it. You know, you go from not being a champion of anything, playing team sports and not necessarily being a champion, to 2010 being a national champions, Super Bowl champion. And that by itself is that experience, that story by itself, it was a bit of a fairy tale, but it was more so, to me, it was almost biblical. That I played in the NFL and won a Super Bowl, and I was out there on that field. There were so many guys that watched what I went through, my career. It was a blessing to them. It was motivation to them. I inspired them. And Hamilton's Heart Foundation started back in 2008, and it was just an opportunity for me to give back and for me to work with a lot of kids from my inner city. It started off just being a football camp. It was the numbers grew to 300 to about 700 kids every year. So to this day, we still do that camp. With Hamilton's Heart Foundation, what we do, we work with underprivileged youth all across the board, from military to disability, to autism, homeless, and inner city. And we do different programs, and we do different events to raise money for a lot of the other programs that are in the city, because we're not about reinventing the wheel. It was just, I look back and I see so many things that, given great parents that taught me the way. My dad taught me discipline, work ethic. My mom taught me Christ, relationship. It went hand in hand and made me into who I am today. And a lot of children, they don't have that. And this is my way of giving back to them of my knowledge. It's Lionel Hamilton, CEO of Fast Play Athletics, founder of Hamilton's Heart Foundation, also Super Bowl champion. You're watching The Block.
To learn more about the foundation, be sure to visit their website at hamiltonsheartfoundation.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Block. You can catch bonus footage of the show and watch it weekly on your computer or mobile device at theblocksd.tv. You can get a behind-the-scenes look by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TheBlockSD. Stay on the rise, San Diego.